Ron Jackson, and welcome to my Patreon only video on the 8 fingerings of the C major scale for the 7-string guitar. Now this is an extension of my 6-string lesson, which is the 8 fingerings for the C major scale in the key of C. So you should definitely know the 8 fingerings of the C major scale on the 6-string guitar first, okay? So review that on my Patreon site, which is www.patreon.com/RonJacksonMusic. So let's get started. So we're going to do the key of C, the first position. The tricky part of the 7-string tuned to a low A is that the notes stretch wider on the 7th string because in B tuning it's closer to the normal tuning of the guitar, and also C when it's tuned to a low C, but the low A is much lower, and so the notes spread out much farther. So if this is a C note on the 7th string, to get up the scale, C, D, E, F. Now F here is F here. So that's tricky. When you actually want to play scales like the C major scale, so you have to do a big stretch to get to that note. Like that, okay? So the open fingering is not that bad. You hit the open string E, like that, okay, in the first fingering. But when you start playing the other fingerings, that's when it gets tricky. So let's get started. So exercise number 1 is going to start on the first position, but I'm going to use my 3rd finger to play the low C of that fingering and then go up the scale from there, going to the 5th and open. So that's not that bad, and we get back to the normal scale on the 6th string. So here we go. Exercise number 1. 3 and 4 and. On fingering number 2, or exercise number 2, we're going to start with the 7th string spanning the 3rd, 5th, and 7th fret. So we're a little out of position here in the beginning. We're supposed to be in 2nd position. Then we're going to jump up, or actually down the neck right here, to the F note to get to the normal 2nd position C major scale for the rest of the exercise. So we'll start again like this, like that to start, okay, on exercise or fingering number 2. So here's exercise number 2, fingering number 2. 3 and 4 and. In exercise number 3, we're going to be doing this long stretch on the 7th string like this. And then we're going to play the rest of the C major scale, which is in the 4th position in this 3rd fingering here. Okay, so we're going to do this 4-note sequence and then play the rest of the fingering in the key of C, normally on the 6 strings. Here's exercise number 3, or fingering number 3. 3 and 4 and. exercise number 4 or fingering number 4, we're going to start on the C in the 5th position, 6th string, 8th fret with your 4th finger, like this. We're going to go all the way up the scale to the note we can reach in this position. Then we're going to go all the way back down. When we get to the 7th string, we're actually going to play the G note to the F, to the E, to the D, and go back up to the C note. So you see that big stretch here? A lot of these notes on the 7th string will be spanning 4 notes with a lot of stretches to be able to compensate for the low A string. Here's exercise or fingering number 4. 3 and 4 and. Exercise number 5 or fingering number 5 starts on the 7th position with the 6th string, 2nd finger, 8th fret right here, which most people know on the 6th string guitar. When you get down to the 7th string, that's when it gets tricky. You're going to go C, B, A on the 12th fret, G, then E, and go back up. So that's the tricky part of fingering number 5. So here's exercise number 5, fingering number 5. 3 and 4 and. Fingering number 6, we'll be starting with the C major scale, which is actually on the 9th position. Okay, the tricky part is when you hit the C, you get to the 7th string on the B, and you're hitting the notes every 2 frets to get down to the F. It's a big, long, stretchy fingering there. And I use actually all my 4 fingers to play that whole, it's actually a whole tone scale. Here's exercise number 6 or fingering number 6. 3 and 4 and. Exercise number 7 starts on the 10th position. We're going to start on the 4th string, the C, which has actually been 2 octaves higher from this one. This is actually 2 octaves above. Okay, the tricky part is just going down the scale from the C. You're going to hit the C, the B, the A, and G, and go back up. Is this position, 10th position C, with the C major chord right here, from the open string chord, the D. That D chord form played as a C chord in the 10th position. Here's exercise or fingering number 7. 3 and 4 and. but not least, fingering number 8 or exercise number 8. The tricky part of fingering number 8 is when you go down the scale from the C. This is 12th position. You're going to get this to the 7th string and go down. Okay, from the D, C, B, A, B, C. Okay, we're going to end back up at the top to that C and play the C chord here. Exercise or fingering number 8. 3 and 4 and... Fingering number 8 is the same as the open string, open position fingering, but on the 12th fret, because it doubles on the 12th fret or goes up actually 1 octave. Thank you everybody for watching my exclusive Patreon lesson for the 7-string guitar, which was the C major scale in 8 fingerings, just for the 7-string guitar with a low A. To get the sheet music, please join my Patreon at www.patreon.com/RonJacksonMusic. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a great day.